everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Gabrielle, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Excellent, excellent. We surely do appreciate you coming on today. Go ahead and introduce yourself and the name of your business.
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Mills. I am the president and co-founder of a company called Sourced. We're out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we do back office support for small to mid-market companies.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I started my entrepreneur journey when I was in college. I had the idea that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I actually dropped my business major because I didn't think I had the chops for it. Mostly because I didn't want to take accounting, which is funny because now I do accounting in my business. So it's the great comedy of my life, really. Right. I decided to go into business with my mom. Okay. And she's a great businesswoman, great salesperson. So we looked for a franchise for a long time. Long story short, if talking about time, what I think is the important thing beyond my story is that we've been in business for 9 years. Okay. Next year is our 10th anniversary. We're so excited.
Congratulations.
But there were a few years in there in the beginning where we were just trying to figure out stuff. And there was a lot of things that distracted us and things that we had to learn. We started this business from no knowledge, no model, no nothing. It's not a franchise. There's at the time there was nothing like it. The services that we do are accounting, marketing, HR, admin support, and talent acquisition. Okay. Chrissy and I, who's my mom, had no experience in any of those things. So we were as green could come. Yes. When we're talking about time being the important, your best asset and saving that, what I want to counsel people on is a couple of things. Yeah. First, don't be afraid to fail. Actually, I don't even believe in failure. You know, Kobe Bryant says you either succeed or you learn. That's right. Totally buy that. But I think you should spend a lot of time on your model. Okay. Because we didn't know anything, we just started looking for business everywhere, and we could have spent more time developing the processes and the standards that we eventually had to back up into. Now, we got there eventually, but it did take us quite a bit of time. Okay. And I would have started a little bit smaller, maybe with not quite as many services. Right. We kind of accidentally, on purpose, started 5 businesses at the same time, though at the time it was 4. It was a long story. Okay. But I would say time being your most important asset, use it wisely, get strategic, think about things, and consider like all the little elements of your business, but also do what you got to do to drive sales. And that's really what we were doing. Okay,
makes a lot of sense. Now with this, was this the first thing that you did as far as right out of school? You went straight into business with mom?
No. So I thought that, so I had the idea in college that I wanted to do something. Okay. Had no idea what. In fact, I came to this realization right as I was about to graduate, and I was like, well, man, I should have stuck with that business major. That would have been helpful.
Yes.
But I was like, well, I guess that ship sailed. Yes. No pun intended.
Absolutely.
And I got an internship early on in my college career with IHG, the hotel company. Okay. Loved working there, and they offered me a job after I graduated. So here I am, 20, 21, whatever age I was, and I'm like, I'm going to do the corporate ladder thing. I'm going to make all this money, have a sweet 401k, have 2.5 kids, and then I'm going to do the entrepreneur thing.
Yes.
That didn't happen. Right. Chrissy and I got really excited about creating something or doing something. At first, it was franchises we were looking for, and then we can talk about that story.
Yes.
But no, it actually came. So I worked at IHG for 6 years before I quit cold turkey and went full time into entrepreneurship.
Now, quitting cold turkey, I always ask the question, was it an event or did something happen that made you say, you know what, I'm going to be done with this corporate and I'm going to burn the ship and go all into Sourced? Or did you just say, hey, I'm going to do this? What was there an event there?
It was closer to the, hey, I'm just going to do this.
Okay.
It was, so I loved IHG. I worked in the branding and marketing department. I had such a fun job. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't play the corporate game well at all. Right. I think I was well liked. I think I did a good job, but the interrelations of corporate, I could not be on the A team. I was always considered like the B will develop her there. She'll get there. And I'm like, what the hell? I am busting my butt. Yeah. I was there for a longer time than my peers who came in after. They were getting promoted past me. And I've got my loved ones in my ear going, what the hell? And I'm like, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Right. And I finally, once I left, I was like, you know what? That just wasn't the right environment for me. So it was a slow burn. Okay. But really, I just, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right.
And Chrissy and I had this idea for a business. And we were like, the stars aligned to where my lease was coming up. I was single. We wanted to do this together. I actually had just gotten my dream job and it wasn't so dreamy. So there was a bunch of things that like the stars aligned and I saw the path.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take this shot. I'm going to kill my lease. I'm going to move into my mom's basement, get rid of all my bills, swallow my pride, and I'm just going to do this. Yeah. And so it wasn't so much of an event, but I just took the shot.
Yeah. It sounds like it was something that you wanted to do from the beginning because you took up that major in business to know, hey, how do businesses work? You change courses just a little bit. What did you end up majoring in?
It's a funny story, and I'm kind of laughing a little bit on the inside because yes, that is how it would seem on the outside. Yes. But no, I wanted to be an actress growing up.
Okay.
And so then when I dropped that at 17, I was pretty serious about it. Went to California, did the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
And then I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. So then I asked my parents, I'm like, so what major should I get? And they're like, you can't go wrong with business. Yes. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So then I show up to Econ 101. Now, granted, it was 8:30 in the morning, and I am not a morning person. But I was like, I can't think of anything worse. Like just the concept. I was so young. The concept of supply and demand at 8:30 in the morning, I could not freaking get it.
Yes, yes.
Now I'm like laughing at myself. But the thought of taking accounting, I was like, no way. Right. I have to drop this major. So then I was like, all right, what is as close to a business degree as I can get without taking accounting? I know. Marketing. Okay. Except marketing was in the business school, so I still had to take accounting. So I ended up getting a journalism major, which is a pseudo marketing major, which is a pseudo business major. So it was just it was all across the board.
They're all kind of connected together. I'm sure it helped you though in the long run because you were able to get all those different skills, a little bit of taste of different things. So it worked out. I mean, you're here now.
Sure.
You're here now. So you were telling us a little bit about those different services with your business.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and dive into it. Go ahead and tell us all about Sourced and what you do and, how can we help you? Who can we get you out in front of?
Thank you for asking. I love talking about my company. Yes. It's a very big source of pride and fulfillment for me and for my mom and for everybody that works there. So the company is called Sourced. And as I said, we do back office business services. It's a little bit of a niche industry that's kind of up and coming right now. Now we've been doing it for 9 years. I like to think we came up with it first. But essentially, one side of our business is fractional. That's designed for the smaller, lower mid-market companies where we have a full-scale accounting firm. Anything that you need in accounting, taxes, planning, anything, we do all of that. We have a full-scale marketing agency, websites, social, pay-per-click. You want a commercial done, we can do it. Okay. So the whole gambit of marketing. We also do fractional HR, compliance and advisement stuff. And fractional administrative support, which is usually like virtual assistants, but it could be like a paralegal or for financial services. They do like client services or things like that. So that's designed for people that say, I need this function in my business or I need this gap filled, but I don't need a full-time person. So we go in there, we do the books, we fix the books, we get them a website, we make sure their HR is all taken care of from a compliance standpoint. We give them an admin, whatever that is.
Right.
But then we learned about 3 years in, so we didn't start with our talent acquisition service. 3 years in, a client came to us and he's like, this is great, but I need a project manager. And we're like, well, we don't have one of those. And he's like, I need them full time on my team. And that's where talent acquisition came in. So on that side of the business, we do full-time recruiting, placement services.
Well, that's awesome. That's a lot of services that will help businesses to save a lot of time. It's one of those things where a lot of those business owners don't really know how to delegate, and they get trapped inside of it, not have the ability to work on it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So it seems like you're freeing them up to do some of those things. Give us an idea of what that ideal client looks like. I know the services that you have, but what does that business owner look like that they don't even know they need you?
So when people ask me the ideal client question, usually people answer it of like revenue size, business size, industry. For us, we're industry agnostic, so it doesn't really matter. We have certain lanes that we found ourselves having a lot of repeat business in, but not anything particular.
Yeah.
Really what we're looking for is where we find that we bring the most help is a client profile. These are people that they have been hustling in their business for about 4 to 5 years, and they are ready to offload these things. They can do the tasks that we can do. This is not new. Like, they've probably been doing it themselves or have had help along the way. They just don't want to anymore. At first, we thought, oh, we'll be saving them time and they, working on the business and everything that you just said. But really, when we really looked at our clientele, they're like, I just don't want to. I just want somebody that I can trust. It's really hard to find reliable resources. It's really hard to find people that actually know what they're doing. I ain't got time to find those people. You guys do it. So that's really the benefit that we bring. We do, typically the businesses started around 2 million in revenue and then they go north. The lower side of that are our fractional clients. The higher side of that are our talent acquisition clients, but they blend, they jump in on different sides of the business. Everything's a la carte. So it just kind of depends on what they need in that season of their business.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, as we are painting on the canvas, trying to let everybody know, about you and the business, what does an engagement look like if I'm a business owner that just says, hey, I'm tired of doing the books? Tell us a little bit about an engagement so they can have a clearer picture of what you're doing.
Yeah, on the fractional side of the business, well, let me just say across the business, we believe in transparent pricing. That doesn't change. So on the fractional side, that is a single monthly rate that you pay on the first of the month for all your services. You know exactly what it is. You can budget for it. Doesn't change unless you make a change or unless your business grows and your scope grows, right? Right. On the talent acquisition side, we do 15% of the annualized salary, which is like 5, sometimes 10 or 15 percentage points less than our competitors. And even though so many people have told us, stop doing that, raise your rates, you're undercutting yourself, whatever. We do that because we want to serve the small to mid-market companies that may not have 20 grand, 30 grand to drop on a person. So when we scope out the work on the fractional side, we get to, okay, this is what your monthly rate's going to be. You know exactly what it is. And then on the talent acquisition side, you can do the easy math of, I'm going to offer this person this much money, take 15% of it. And you already, it's all very transparent.
Yes. Now, I don't want to make any assumptions, but you can do this nationwide, or do you focus here in the local area? Okay, because I was thinking if there is a CEO in Seattle that needs a project manager, you'll be able to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, so I need to count how many states we've done work in. I think we're in like the 20s or 30s, somewhere in there.
Nice.
We started in 2017 is when we opened our doors. You and I, before the show, were talking about the impact of 2020 on our business and the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Half of our business at the time of the pandemic was on-site support. Biggest pain in the butt. It was so logistically difficult. And so the biggest change that we had in the course of 2020 was to move everything virtual, including our recruitment. And that changed the game. And there was one client in San Jose, California. She was evaluating if she wanted to use our firm for talent acquisition. And she goes, why would I pick you, somebody on the other side of the country, instead of somebody local here? And we were like, we have a map, and luckily those maps tell us how, the distance for commutes and stuff. And the personal network doesn't really get you people beyond just a couple.
Yes.
It's really like the sourcing work. And we were like, we can do that work from anywhere. And we ended up finding her a really awesome, like, I think it was a COO or an operations director or something like that. And we did it from literally the furthest away we could be in the country.
Yeah, it was one of those things where for us, it kind of opened up the gates, because we had a nice big fence around our current cities, our local cities. But when that happened, we already had clients all over the country, but it just broke it open.
It did.
Because with the virtual meetings, now I'm meeting people in Oregon, Texas, all over. Nice one in Missouri, still work with them. It's kind of like it opened it up. So it seems like it was very similar.
I think it was a lot of people in entrepreneurs, small business founders, like we have learned to be scrappy and use technology just slightly earlier than maybe some other businesses or businesses that are larger and they had to figure out the tech because it is an undertaking to figure that out on a larger scale. So I think the two of us were likely a little bit ready for it. And then when the floodgates opened and everybody figured it out, we were like, now there's business everywhere. Yes. So like when we were doing 50-50, 50% of my clients were kind of doing that same thing. And we're like, we're testing it. There's a little bit of trust there. But then the other 50 were like, nope. Got to have somebody in my office, and now nobody sees the benefit of that except in like very particular circumstances.
Yeah, it has to be a particular thing that business owner wants.
Yeah, and sometimes there's like locked files in the office.
Yes.
We can't do anything about that. But a lot of times people just wanted a body because they wanted to see the body, and it's like I can get you somebody with a much better brain. In the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Right. Well, that opened up things for us. So that's good that was able to help you inside of your business. We've talked about the services that you provide. We've talked about what those ideal clients look like. But another thing that I always like to ask is who would you consider a good referral partner for you? Because we know that we're out here networking, trying to get our name out there. Was there a particular industry that sends you over the opportunities that you would like to highlight?
We are very fortunate to have a lot of different services. So it's kind of different for each service. Okay. The blanket is what am I trying to say? The blanket profile is strategists. Okay. And what I mean by that is fractional C-suite people, fabulous. Okay. Fractional CFOs love that we do the accounting execution because we don't do any strategy. Okay. Everything in our business is execution based. Okay. We're the tactical team. Okay. So CFOs bring us in and say, you need to do the accounting full scope because I'm not going to do it. CMOs are doing the same thing with the marketing. They're like, I'm not going to build the website, but I want you to, or I want, this is the strategy that I created. Here's the strategy, go execute it. Or just people those are people that are hired to come into the company, right? There are also strategists that I would put CPAs in this category. I would put some financial planners in this category, some maybe banking relationships where it's like definitely M&A advisors. Yes. They see under the hood of the company and they see the dirty laundry and they have a vested interest, whether it's fiduciary or not, to make the business better and to make it succeed. And those people are the ones that plant the bug of this is the area where you need help. Yes. And they're likely referring us over there. So it could look a lot of different ways, but it's the trusted advisors that see the dirty laundry and they're like, we got to get this cleaned up so you can exit, so you can scale, so you can bring an investor, whatever that is. Yes.
So you're trying to connect with the strategists. That way you can fill the positions because they can see it and you actually execute it and get it done. Yeah. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Now, for yourself, you've had an interesting journey going from acting.
I know.
I'm not leaving that out. I'm not leaving the acting out. Because you had skills you learned inside of there too, I'm sure, with dealing with she's trying to take my role or whatever type things and managing those relationships, then going to college, going to the hotel, working with them, and now in your own business, you have acquired and nurtured some business skills that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with the entrepreneurs that are watching today some of those skills that they may add that to their mix and then strive for success?
Yeah, I would say that, we already talked about don't be, try everything. Don't be afraid to fail. But again, we don't believe in failure. It just, you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find the thing that works. And I think the best entrepreneurs are resilient and gritty, and they're just going to do whatever the hell it takes.
Right.
That being said, I said in the beginning, save yourself some time and be strategic about it. So we thought we were being strategic about it, but we bit off so much that we had to step back and be like, okay, well, now that we know some stuff, now let's be strategic about it because we've got so many different services.
Right.
So I would say, don't be afraid to kiss the frogs. But some of the best advice that I can give in the business too is get out of the business. So every year, my business partner and I, we take a week and we call it Think Week.
Okay.
And we start an agenda in October. It's not until January that we go, and we spend an entire week working on the business. It's either things that we never can get to while we're in the office, or strategy or vision casting or modeling or whatever that is.
Right.
And that has been, I don't know how we would have built the company we have today if we didn't have an opportunity to say, this is where we're going. And even if we fall short, we're still on the right path versus just circling around somewhere. It gives us direction.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity to check yourself. It sounds like, you put together a plan. You're so busy executing the plan, you got to take a second to make sure that we're not going to Florida and we're trying to make it to New York, making sure we stay on track. That's a very important thing for business owners to do, just to check and make sure everything is going the way that you wanted it to go.
And I can't say we were excellent at this because we are very energetic, passionate entrepreneurs. But when you cast that plan, you stick to the plan. Like there's going to be, we call them squirrels, the shiny squirrels, all over the place. We have gotten distracted by a number of shiny squirrels that then looking back, we're like, what were we doing? Like, come on. That we probably would have gotten where we wanted to faster if we didn't get distracted. But at the same time, like, you never know where opportunity is going to come from. So you take that with a grain of salt of like, don't, like, we always wanted to be yes people of like, that's why we have so many services is we wanted to, when we saw somebody in need, we wanted to be able to help them. So absolutely follow the opportunity, but at the same time, it does give you some guardrails of like, no, this is in brand, no, this is out of brand.
Yeah, makes sense. But again, like you said, it wasn't necessarily where you guys failed at it. You learned something from it. You learned something inside of that, but you also learned, hey, look, let's stick to where we are and not go over there and find that shiny object over there. Good, man. You're dropping a bunch of nuggets on it. We definitely appreciate that today. Now, let's just say that business is coming along well. You're helping them with all these back office services. Time and money is not an issue at all. What is it that you would do with your time?
My personal time?
Your personal time.
Okay, so I don't know how to answer this question because I currently have none.
Okay.
Because I have two young kids.
Yes.
I had them back to back. So they're 2 and 3, freshly 2 and 3.
Nice.
And I'm a business owner. So that's my entire life right there.
Yes.
Now, I picked up reading. So an interesting decision that I made in my life is I'm an achieving type personality. I'm sure you've gathered that.
Yes.
About 3 years ago, right when I had my son, actually, I said, I am not going to read any more self-help books. I am not going to read any more fiction or nonfiction. It to me, I put that in the category of work, and I just need to escape. So I read fiction, thrillers, fantasy, historical fiction. I love that. I would do that whilst traveling. And I would love to. So I took up piano for a while.
Okay.
Haven't touched it since kids, so I've forgotten everything. I'd love to take that back up again. And I've always wanted to take painting classes. Like, I love Bob Ross. I'd love to be a pupil of Bob. The old school videos. That's
so funny. We have it on the Bob Ross channel on the Samsung.
Do you really?
It's just on there to start.
There's a guy on TikTok too that he comes up and you can tell he's trying to be the new Bob Ross. And I love watching his video. I don't know. It just feels like you don't need to be talented. You just need to learn the skill.
Yes.
Because I can't draw for crap. But I'm like, I could use this brush and make a tree.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, have you ever thought or considered going back into acting?
Okay. Yes. First of all, rusty is probably not a good enough word. I would probably be really bad at it. Oh my God, Roderick, I'd probably be really, really bad at it. But I created a bucket list sometime in college when the movie came out. And on there was to be a lead in a play. And I had already stopped my career at this point. So I kind of put it on there, which means I kind of have to do it at some point. But at this point, I'm not inviting anybody. It's going to be really bad.
It's a bunch of local theaters out there. I'm sure those companies need some. Come on. I should. Listen now, that's been a passion you have from the get-go. And it's down in there, but it's there. It sounds like it was a foundational piece of your situation.
It is. It comes up when I public speak.
Okay.
So I do still love to be on stages. I am a glutton for punishment, I say, because everyone's biggest fear is public speaking, and I love it. So I think that God gave me that gift for that reason. But I also am a terrible liar, terrible actor in my normal day-to-day life. Yes. Can't. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm gonna share with you what I share with my team. There are masks that we have to wear, right? We have to wear a mask when I'm, dad. I have to wear a mask when I'm the sales manager podcast. You know, it can be the same thing for you. You put on that acting mask and get back out there. I think you can do a good job. Your energy is great.
It's probably deep down in there. I just gotta pull out my Udahagen videos and do some subtext work and whatever. But I dream about the free time to be able to do that. Because right now I'm like, I just love to watch a reality TV show and
release a little bit. Nice. Thank you so much for sharing those things. And you've been magnificent on the show today. And I wanted to ask if someone was interested in learning more about those back office services, talk a little bit more about the strategy and the execution of the plan. That's one of the skills you shared. What would be the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the easiest way to get in contact with me is Gabrielle Mills on LinkedIn at Gabrielle J. Mills, and then you can find me on Instagram at gabrielle.speaks, or our website is getsourced.com.
Awesome. We truly do appreciate you coming on the show today. And to all of our guests, we're just so happy they come on, and we always try to honor you guys by giving you the last word. So please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Something good. I always encourage people that if you have a dream or a desire on your heart and you want to go out into entrepreneurship, you want to try something, you want to do your side hustle, whatever, just do it. You don't want to live a life of regret, get to the end of your life and wish you would have done it when you can just take the shot now. I encourage you to dream big and just do it. It's never as hard or as bad as you think. In fact, it's probably going to be better and the thing that makes your life better in the long run.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.